Hey, so today is going to be, I believe, my first kind of like big day here in the in what I call the dry storage room. So what we mean by just dry storage, or actually no, we've been calling it dry materials. All right. This is where Jeff kept the dry ingredients for making his clay, and then also for making his glazes. In the past, I've showed or shared several photos, kind of looking down this room, just to kind of show you everything that's in here. And as I said in the last video, I'm finally going to do something with this. So my strategy for addressing this length of shelving, and granted, like how it looks right now is not exactly how it was when we found it. If I can identify a photo somewhere to kind of show you what we initially saw, I'll kind of include that in the video. But essentially, like this sink here was not right there, and neither were these plaster pieces of plaster. So like this sink was upstairs in what is now the living room of his old apartment, and then these pieces of plaster were kind of like leaned up. If I remember correctly, they're leaned up a little precariously over here by where he has his clay mixer. So I wanted to get those up off the ground and out of the way when we had people doing construction upstairs for the renovation, because that included coming into this room to run electric, which I just feel like I got to say is amazing. Our electrician was incredible. And then also there's some plumbing. So like right above us here is the kitchen for the living space. But yeah, I digress. So some of the things, it wasn't exactly like this, but what I'm going to do as I kind of formally clear it off so that we can put it into use, which I should share with you, is that I know it's off camera, but over here to my right, your left, is the bisque kiln. So what I would like to do is have this section here of shelving cleared off so that we could put greenware ready for this kiln on it. And then right behind you is the door that goes into the actual workshop, and then that's where I have a wear rack stationed for the bisque ware to then be placed so that it can be glazed for the glaze fire. So my strategy here is that I'm just going to go one shelf at a time. So I'm going to take everything off of this top shelf, and then I have a cleared off table back in the workshop, and I'm going to, well, first I'll take a photo of what's on here. So I'll take a photo from this angle and probably from this angle over here. And then I'm going to take all the items off and put it on the table, and then I'll just take a photo from up top like that so we can just see everything that was on this shelf. Now when I take the materials from here and put them over there, I'm not going to try to like recreate this. I don't think that's necessary because like the initial photo will show that to us. But what we're going to do is we're going to, as I said, we're going to take it over there, put it on the table, and take the photo. And then what we're going to do that's a little different from what we had done initially. So in the very beginning, like when we'd clear this shelf off and we'd take a photo, we would save everything. So like we had boxes that are just taking up so much space up in the warehouse area that are just filled with things. Like, it's got like these little pieces of wood here. I'm not quite sure what he was using them for, at least back here, unless they're like, you know, just spacers, kind of like what I've done here with the plaster. But like, we would save that stuff, and it was maddening. So the plan is take a photo, document it, and if we don't need it, we're going to get rid of it. And like these spacers, like maybe I'll just assess how many of those we have, because I know that they're really helpful for like rolling out slabs, even though we have a slab roller. But we'll just see what's going on with that. But then otherwise, I'm just going to get rid of it. And then things that we do want to keep. So we have this like large jar of Old Dutchy dressing from Gage. Sorry, I'm just reading here. It says, ideas for use. Keep chilled for best flavor. I don't want to taste this Dutchy dressing if it's at anything other than chill temperature. But anywho, so I don't know, this jar's really cool, but it just has here written on the side in tape, Zirco. So any kind of containers that are on here that have material in it, I've got some boxes over here in this other kiln that I'm going to kind of consolidate them into the boxes and just kind of have them out of the way until I figure out where those boxes will live in the future. So we have things like that. Here's another one, Zirco. Here's a standard ceramic supply. Can't read that just yet. There's another container here. Yellow iron oxide. Down here on the bottom, though, he's got an arsenal of poisons and what have you. I guess he had quite the bug problem. But yeah, so I'll put those in boxes and then just kind of have them off to the side, as I said, for when I figure out like where they need to be, because like I'm definitely going to use the material if I can. But then you can see that there's a lot of pots in here. So what I'll do with those is I'll just clean them up really well, just take an initial photo so that we know that they're here, and then I'll have them put aside for when we do the actual final photo shoot of the pots, which I can't wait to do that. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's some pots that I've, like some photographs of pottery that I took when we first started doing this, and it's like I totally forgot about them. It's like, oh wow, yeah, that was a beautiful piece. So I can't wait to reintroduce myself to those pieces. But yeah, I'll clean these off and then put them in a safe place until we can have them photographed for the archive. So then that's going to be my plan. So photograph here, take all the stuff, take it out there, photograph it again, sort things and get it to where it needs to be. And then once everything is, I'll do that for this shelf, so on and so forth. I'm not sure if I really need to do that with all these pieces of plaster and say, wow, this is a 3/4 inch piece of silica carbide, some broken kiln shelf. But yeah, so that's how I'll document things. And then once it's all off, I'll just come through and I'll take a shot back to it. And of course, while I'm doing all of this, I'll be wearing a respirator because my lungs are important. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. This is another one of those projects that this could take me like maybe half an hour, or it's going to take me half a month. Who knows? But it starts today, and I'll be sure to post updates as we go along. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, just feel free to leave them in the comments, and hopefully I'll see that and then I'll get back to you. But otherwise, thanks for hanging out. Cheers. Okay, so it's, I don't know, like 3.5 or 4 hours after I was like, all right, see you later. And I figured before I leave for the day, which is probably going to be in about like half hour, 45 minutes, that maybe I could just provide this update because we're here and I don't feel like doing another damn thing. I hear the music playing in the background. Hold on, gotta turn that down. Realizing that since I've got this thing on, that as I was walking closer to the speaker, that it was probably getting louder for you. And that's all cool, because that's what's going on here. So anywho, I got these 3 shelves kind of documented and cleaned off. The only shelf that really needed to be placed on the table out there was this one. The other 2 shelves were, I don't know, I feel like they're fairly well captured by the photo that I could just take here. Like this shelf here had all of those plaster boards on them, which those things are fascinating. Doesn't feel like the plaster that I'm accustomed to, and it had a metal grate in the center for stability. I'll show you what I do with those here momentarily, but yeah, I just cleared them off. It was pretty disgusting. Just a lot of dust. That mask thing that I have is just absolutely incredible, and I don't feel like I did something bad to myself because I wore it. But as you can see, I did not get to the bottom part because that's just, yeah, I had enough for today. In here, what we have is a kerosene can, and it sounds like there might be just like the tiniest splash left in it. An empty metal gasoline can. This other metal can that says camper's fuel, but I don't know, just there's a bunch of random stuff in there that I'm not quite sure what to do with. But as I was cleaning this and kind of like putting things away, like I have it kept in my mind that we want to use the shelving unit as a staging place, as I said earlier, for greenware to go into the kiln. I think that these 3 shelves, that's enough for just a standard sized kiln. We shouldn't be loading up any more volume than this. If so, we're getting way too backed up. So yeah, so it'll be these 3 shelves and maybe even just these 2 shelves, and I'll keep maybe kiln furniture up top here. I'm not sure, like even that's just a huge shelf for kiln furniture. But down below here, I think what I've decided to do is that I'm gonna either purchase or make furniture dollies. So it's a wooden square thing with casters on the bottom, and I'll use those to keep bags of dry material on. So in the back there, he's got like these large, like 50-pound bags of of like EPK and stuff like that. So I'd like to just put them on there so I don't have to like lift them up to get them onto shelves. But that would just be, I think, a really effective use of what's down below. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I do like to vacuum off and wipe down with a wet sponge any surface that I address, because I just want to kind of start fresh. But also specifically with this area, if we're going to be having bisqueware, I don't want any kind of like foreign dust particles to get on the pots and then somehow compromise any of the firings. So yeah, what was strange is that on this shelf and this one, I haven't checked under this, but like there was, I think, like clay splatters under there, and I don't know if it was from his clay mixer here. I mean, did it really splatter that far? I don't know if you can see it in your shop, but like you can see splatters of stuff over here along the wall as well. But man, the buckets of water were friggin' filthy. But anywho, you don't want to hear me talk about this. So yeah, so here's this, and then I'll show you some of the things that I took off of this shelf here, because this was kind of the interesting one. And then I'll show you how I repurposed some of these near the end of their lives plaster boards. So I'm going to walk around and turn this off and then restart here in a moment. Okay, so this rack, what the hell? So this rack here used to be just maybe, I'd say, like 10 feet down here, right next to the door that goes to the little kiln room there. We just had like an assortment of things stacked on there. So there was like little plastic tubs for like slips and what have you. We found a small container with test tiles in it, but it's just like kind of a collection of randomness. And I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, so I did think briefly that we would maybe stack some of the dry materials on here, but as you can see, it's a little precarious, and if we were to add like several 100 pounds of weight, that just wouldn't go good. So what I did is I cleaned off, so I like wet down and scrubbed these plaster bats. Or are they bats? No, they're not bats. Anywho, so I scrubbed these down. My brain's not working very good right now. My apologies. But I just scrubbed these down, and this is where I'll start reclaiming clay. As I said in the last video, I believe it was, the pug mill's down. So I'm going to start taking some of the stoneware, and I'll put that on these two bats, and then whatever porcelain I have will go up top here. So that's what I did with that material. So now I'm going to, again, turn off the camera, and then we'll start back up over at the table up front. And I'm realizing that I have a fan going in the background, and I hope that isn't too distracting. I'll turn that off too. So here we go again. So this is the front table that I was talking about, where I would then stage everything that was on the shelves in the back. This ultimately, like this table in particular, is going to probably go upstairs once everything is said and done, and this will be kind of where we can sit down and just take a break and, you know, get something to drink, get something to eat. I'm not sure whether that's important right now, but hey. So, okay, so I digress. I just got to see my my mom this past weekend, and one thing that I'm learning about this archival stuff, at least the way that we're doing it, is moms are our biggest fan, or at least mine and Meg's. So Oh, it's strange. She was criticizing these videos. Is that the right word, criticizing? She was giving me constructive feedback. She was saying, why are you so serious? I don't remember what I said, like maybe, you know, it's serious work or something, but anywho, undigress. So here's some of the materials that were on that shelf. I'm trying to see, yeah, in the frame, you can see over there, and I'll take the camera over in a bit, the pots that I pulled off of that shelf as well. Again, like there's just some really cool ones. But here, it's just a bunch of random things. So here's what's labeled magnesium carbonate. Here's elastonite. These little kind of, what are these, kiln sitters? Is that what that is? I forget. Like just little pieces of kiln furniture. The thing that I'm really curious about, and I'm just not sure what's going on here, but there was a couple of containers of this in that area. I'll do this for you. So you can kind of see it looks like grog. It probably is grog. But I don't know why it was there, and why it's like in a little container like this, and in a little container like this. This isn't grog. This looks like sand, maybe. I don't know. So if any of you out there can be like, oh, well, he probably was doing this with it. If you could share that, that'd be great. Here's another one. A milk carton filled with the stuff. Not sure what that is. It's very fine and powdery, and I probably shouldn't be touching it with my bare hands. But that was some of the stuff that was on there. There's some broken gauges for his pyrometer. There's half of a recipe. I see 20% chrome, 30 Gerxley borate. So yeah, oh. And this is my trusty respirator today. Meg picked that up for me, and thank goodness. But anywho, so to kind of move this very random video along, I'm going to take us over there so you can see some of the pots, and then I think we're going to call it a day. So I'm going to turn you off, and then I don't want to say that, but anyway, so I'll be right back. Hi. So I'll move this one. That's my water. So these are the pots, or I should just say pieces that I have taken off that shelf. And again, it's just like a really interesting collection of pieces, because they from what we know, they span quite an extensive period of his work. So we know that these ones here, which by the way, I want to show you. I don't know how well this camera will pick this glaze up. But we know that these are from when he was getting his MFA. I think this is when he was working with Dan Anderson. So there's a number of these ones. We have some really just interesting pieces. See that this one here didn't make it to market. Can you You kind of see that break. It's not a break, but the handle separated, and it looks, I don't know, it's pretty cool. I wonder if he just kind of like drew the handle down and then there's little schmutz, but still a really cool piece. Some of them do have the price tags on them. Here's this gorgeous little bowl. When he started using his smaller JK Maker's Mark, along with the, I don't know if you can see that, the Kleckner stamp. This one at the time was going for $24. It's really cute. It's a very warm celadon. Then we get into some of the, I don't know, the pieces that I want to say that are coming from the latter end of his ceramics career, I think. I don't know if I'm wrong, someone please tell me, but like these, like particularly this kind of like black celadon thing that he's got going on here. You know, like that color scheme, and certainly the shape. Yeah, or just of pots that I recognize from, like, I don't know, like quite a while after these pieces. There's another one. He's got these gorgeous tiles. If I hold it that way, there isn't a glare on it. It's very nice. Another plate. What I really like about what he did here, I'm going to move a little closer. So I mean, it just looks like a very, you know, standard plate. I mean, which it is, but I just love how he, see here, how he just kind of brought up this little end here, and he did it in the four corners where the vegetation is. It's just like that subtle little movement that I really enjoy about some of his work. And then there seem to be experimentation with some glazes and certainly some shapes. Here's another one that had a price tag on it. It's very kind of, I don't know, it seems like a very bold foot. I don't even know if that's the right word that I'm looking for, compared to some of his other work. And at the time, this one was going for $60. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's always a lot of fun to just kind of unearth some of these pots, and especially the ones that like are in areas back there where they're just covered with so much dust that you can't even like really see the glaze or kind of the decoration, and it just kind of, you know, it's like unwrapping a gift. It really is. It's really nice. Yeah, really cool. I think that there's maybe one other shelf back there that has some more pots on it. I think it's like the next shelf down. I believe in total there's 3 sections that I need to clean up, and I don't believe that the last one has pots, but I'll double check later. But I think that's it for today. As I said earlier, I'm tired. So I'm gonna just kind of clean things up, and then hopefully I can get this video edited and out into the YouTube land here shortly. So thank you for spending time with me, and I hope to see you again soon. So for real this time, bye.